We're going to call the meeting for Akron City Council to order. Clerk will read the roll.
Freeman, Fusco, Hoke, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amobian, Samples, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky.
For those who voluntarily wish to do so, will you please stand as we are led in prayer by Pastor April Linder. Immediately following our prayer, we'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask if Councilman Kamer will lead us in the pledge.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to represent our pastor, Jimmy K. Rogers, who was in an accident last Thursday and is recovering well. Let us pray. Father, thank you for wisdom to help our city thrive at this time. Thank you for your guiding light to reveal the hidden things. Thank you for peace to show us the way through confusing times. No one can do it but you. Have your way in this council meeting tonight. Bless our mayor, his cabinet, our city council president, and those council proceedings. In Jesus' name, amen.
Clerk will read the minutes from our previously held meeting.
Minutes from the meeting March 4th, 2019. Council convened a regular session at 7 p.m. with President Somerville in the chair. All members were present. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. Neal abstained. Reading of petitions and communications. Passage of the consent agenda. Report of standing and special committees. Passage and referral of new ordinances and resolutions, representation from various departments and divisions, public speaking period, no further business on a motion by Fusco. Council adjourned at 7:33 p.m. to reconvene in regular session on March 11th, 2019, or special call.
Any corrections or additions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay.
Letters, petitions, and communications.
Annual report of the Akron Municipal Court for the year 2018.
File.
Correspondence regarding the proposed daycare center at 515 Merriman Road.
File. You have before you the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Freeman, Fusco, Hope, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Amobian, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky.
This evening we do have two public hearings. I want to know if there's anyone here in the audience that wishes to speak on any of our two items. If you would please stand at this time so that you may be sworn in by our law department. So if there's anyone here in the audience here to speak on 515 Merriman Road or to speak on the zoning code for the retail business district, we'll have you to please stand now so that you can be sworn in by the law department.
If you plan to speak this evening, please stand, raise your right hand, and answer in the affirmative. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth? Thank you.
Okay. I'll read in the public notice. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, March 11th, 2019, during the regular council meeting at 7 p.m. Council Chambers, 166 South High Street, upon an ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish a child daycare business center at 515 Merriman Road.
Mr. Antonucci.
Thank you, Madam President, members of council. Lillian Mitchell is requesting permission to establish a child daycare at this location. Care for a maximum of 12 children at a time would be provided by the petitioner and 2 part-time assistants. The basement area contains separate areas for the care of infants, toddlers, preschool, and school-aged children. Child care services will be available Monday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Every other weekend, they will provide overnight services during the hours of 11:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. No changes are proposed for the interior or exterior of the house. The backyard area contains fencing on 3 sides. The petitioner has operated Auntie Bunny's Child Care for 2 years. The licensed Type B family child care home is in good standing with the state. Children are dropped off and picked up at various times of the day. The petitioner has stated that clients will turn around at the rear of the drive so they can exit forward onto Merriman Road. The traffic engineer has no objections. Providing care for up to an additional 6 children would not significantly raise the level of activity on this property nor have a detrimental effect on nearby homes. Providing quality daycare services is beneficial to the entire city. Both Planning Commission and Planning staff recommend approval, subject to conditions.
Thank you. Is there anyone here in the audience to speak in favor of this ordinance? We're just going to ask you approach the podium. Please give us your name and your address.
Good evening, council and community. My name is Lillian Mitchell. My address is 515 Merriman Road, Akron, Ohio, 44303.
Ms. Mitchell, is there anything that you want to share regarding this ordinance?
I just want to say thank you to the council for hearing us out this morning in regards to our petition. Early education is extremely important and vital, as you all know, and those of you that don't know, I urge you to get involved with the community, with children, because our children in the city of Akron, along with other cities, they're falling so far behind in our communities. And it is extremely important to us to provide the care that we have provided for our children in our daycare. And we are going to continue to do that, and with your help with passing this, we will do a tremendous job, and hopefully one day soon we can come back and ask for permission for a building, because our daycare is growing, and it's growing very, very fast. And I am super excited right now and nervous, but I just want to say that my husband and I and my twin sister, we are going above and beyond with these children, and it's just so important to get these kids on the right track, and that's what we are living and striving for to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here in the audience to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone else to speak in favor? Is there anyone here in the audience to speak against? Anyone here in the audience to speak against? Seeing and hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilman Fusco.
I would like to pull the committee for a favorable recommendation with suspension of the rules. Mobian? Kamer? Neal? Swirsky?
Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to yield comments to the ward council representative, Mr. Swirsky.
I spoke this afternoon, so I'm going to be real brief, but I just want to thank the Mitchells for their initiative at addressing an important community need and for demonstrating a record of reasonableness and responsible care for children, and it's something that we all look forward to in our community.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Freeman, Fusco, Hoke, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Amobiad, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky. That's it. Okay. Notice, the second public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, March 11th, 2019, during the regular council meeting at 7 p.m. in council chambers, 166 South High Street, upon an ordinance authorizing a text change to reclassify motor vehicle sales as a commercial use.
Is Mr. Antonucci?
Thank you, Madam President, members of council. Currently, Akron permits motor vehicle sales within retail business use districts, or U3 classification. The planning staff is of the opinion that motor vehicle sales lots should be reclassified as a commercial use, a U4 only, and thus any future motor vehicle sales lots be prohibited within a retail business use area classification. The majority of motor vehicle sales lots are located along main arterial streets. Often vacant retail properties such as former restaurants and stores are turned into motor vehicle sales lots. Most of these lots create visual blight because they are characterized by unpaved parking areas, little or no landscaping, illegal signage, and overcrowding. Furthermore, motor vehicle sales lots are more commercial in nature because of the allowance of minor repairs to the for-sale vehicles and the storage of vehicles on the lot. The overabundance of improperly developed used motor vehicle sales lots create pockets of visual blight throughout the city. The planning staff is of the opinion that there is an abundance of commercially zoned land that is more suitable for new or used motor vehicle sales lots, and both Planning Commission and planning staff recommend approval.
Thank you. Is there anyone here in the audience to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak against? Anyone here to speak against this ordinance? Seeing and hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Councilman Fusco.
Yes, I'd like to pull the committee for a favorable report, suspension of the rules. Mobian. Kamer. Neal. Right here. Swirsky.
Aye.
Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, thank you, President Somerville. I'd like to thank Director Segedy and his staff in terms of bringing this forward. We do have identified some areas where there's like kind of an overabundance, and it's extremely easy to start up a business like this. So what we're doing is we're basically tightening up the zoning code so that in the future moving forward, that City Council, the Planning Department, Zoning Division will have a greater say-so.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Freeman, Fusco, Hoke, Kamer, Key, Kilby, Milkovich, Omobian, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky.
Councilman Fusco?
Time on 3.
Time will be granted on 3.
File 4.
Item number 4 will be filed.
Time on the balance.
Time will be granted. We'll now move into our new legislation, rules.
Item number 1, offered by Councilwoman Keith and Fusco, a resolution urging the United States government to immediately take appropriate steps to assist in the unification of Ireland and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Keith?
Thank you, Madam President. The sponsors of this would like to change what we did in committee, which was suspension of rules with fair report. We'd like to work a little bit on the language. So if I might poll the committee to refer this item, okay? And on my committee are Councilwoman Amobian. Okay, Freeman. Fusco. And Hoke. Okay. The committee is recommending this item be referred, and so with that, we offer that as a referred item.
Thank you. This item will be referred.
Okay, item number 2. This is the corrected version. The previous mistake was the 2018-19 school year, and it's currently the 2019-2020 school year. Offered by Freeman, ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or his designee to apply for and accept, if awarded, and to enter into an agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Education for after-school program grants for the 2019-2020 school year and declare an emergency.
Councilman Freeman?
Committee's requested this item be placed on the consent agenda.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Okay. Item 2A, offered by Freeman. It's a resolution adopting an annual operating budget for the fiscal year 2019 and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Freeman?
Refer, please.
This item will be referred.
Item 2B, ordinance offered by Freeman. Ordinance to make an annual appropriation for the current expenses and other expenditures in the capital outlay of the City of Akron for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Freeman?
Refer, please.
This item will be referred.
Item number 3, offered by Fusco. Ordinance approving the historic designation of 105 Fur Hill as a historic landmark and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco.
For and advertise for public hearing.
This item will be referred.
Item number 4, offered by Fusco. Ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts with the County of Summit in order to purchase the county's property located at 220 South Ball Street, Akron, Ohio, 44302, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco.
Consent agenda.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 5, offered by Fusco. Ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee to enter into a lease agreement with Cargill Salt Incorporated and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco.
Consent agenda.
This item will also be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 5, offered by Keith, a resolution declaring it necessary to improve roaming road between the termini of I-76 and Vern Odom Boulevard by paving, grading, constructing, and reconstructing curbs, concrete sidewalks, and driveway approaches, installing roof drain pipes and street lighting, and planting trees, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Keith.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee's report is favorable, and we are asking for suspension of the rules.
Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Thank you, Madam President. This was an effort amongst many people that are always behind the scenes, and those are our engineers. And we were awarded a $9 million grant for this particular project. It's an $11 million job. We had a $9 million grant that was secured. And also, when we have big jobs like this means more jobs for our local people. So it is a huge bonus for the city of Akron. So with that, we are looking forward to moving this forward.
Thank you. Councilman Freeman.
I just echo what Ms. Keith said. Appreciate all the folks that we don't see. Lots of times we're not seeing these chambers. Just this work that is going to take place for some significant business on that hill. Thank you.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Freeman, Fusco, Hope, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Mobian, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky. Item number 6, offered by Kilby. Ordinance authorizes the Director of Public Service through the Office of the Purchasing Agent, after publicly advertising for bids, to enter into a contract for the purchase of parts for and installation of a new potable water meter service and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Kilby.
Thank you, Madam President. The wishes of the committee is to place this on the consent agenda.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Okay. Item number 8, offered by Kamer. Ordinance authorizes the Director of Public Service through the Office of the Purchasing Agent to enter into a contract without the formality of publicly advertising for bids for the Gray Shift Gray Key Online for hardware to bypass passcode security on Apple devices and declare an emergency.
Councilman Kamer.
Thank you. Committee's report is favorable, and we're asking for suspension of the rules, please.
Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Nothing further, please.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And we have one abstention.
All right, item number 8, offered by Freeman. Ordinance authorizes the Director of the Neighborhood Assistance or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts with the Northeast Ohio Basketball Association for the management, promotion, and operation of the Drew Joyce Classic and declare an emergency.
Councilman Freeman.
Committee's report is favorable, and we're asking for suspension of the rules.
Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, this would allow us to give a grant of $35,000 towards the Drew Joyce Classic. Over 400 teams from across the country will be attending this event. In addition to the $35,000 the city does provide through the service department and through safety forces, we provide some additional help there as well. And with that, we'd ask for its passage.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And one abstention.
Who abstained?
I'm Obian.
Okay. Roll call and final passage. Freeman, Rusco, Hope, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Amobian, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky.
We will now go to the portion of our meeting that we refer to as our public comment period. If you wish to speak to council during this time, you may approach the podium. We're going to ask that you please sign in, give us your name and your address. You will have 3 minutes to speak to this body. Speakers are reminded that this is an official meeting. Remarks should be kept respectful and germane to council business. Speakers should refrain from making any personal attacks. Anyone who breaches decorum may be ruled out of order and removed from council chambers. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak during our public comment period? You can give us your name and your address.
Okay, my name is Tom Lavery. The address is 575 North Portage Path. When do I start the 3 minutes?
Whenever you're ready. You ready?
Okay. There was a thing in the paper yesterday about various new home construction things and about various private builders grabbing public and private property to build a whole bunch of new apartments and single-family homes. I was here about a month ago complaining about treatment that we'd received about our moderately older house that needs a fair amount of work. It's structurally quite sound, but at a stroke last February 4th, we found out the electric had been pulled off of that. I'm trying to find out who did it and why, and I don't get anywhere with that. We have been harassed on this property for quite some time, most recently starting as of last July, when we got a letter mentioning a whole bunch of things that were supposedly wrong with it, but we didn't get any kind of a list about it. And then later on, we got another threat around September, October, and there was a break-in from people from the housing nuisance assistance, whatever you want to call it, department. They came into the house. We didn't know this for another week or so, and took a bunch of pictures and so on. The address is 575 North Portage Path, and there were a whole bunch of claims. We had a sham hearing on this Housing Appeals Board on October 16th. This was one of the crookedest hearings that I've ever seen, and I wasn't the only one. There was other people in there too that were harassed and threatened, and a couple of other older housing times that I'd been to meetings, same things. I remember one black lady who was trying to fix up a house several years ago. She got thoroughly trashed. We got thoroughly trashed this last October.
So you have about 30 seconds.
All right, I want to have somebody straighten out what's going on with this Jody Forster and Dwayne Greger, whatever his name is, to stop the threats against our house. I will bring in next week, if necessary, pictures, comparable amounts, and so on. We were not allowed. Is that my beeper or
Yes,
something?
it is. Your time is up, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak during our public comment period? It's okay.
Good evening, Council. My name's Harrington Hargrove. I live at 1008 Laurel Avenue, and I'm here in reference to the Elevate Akron program. The denial of the black community in economic development. And I would like to know what is the strategy this council has come up with to uplift our community, and to note that there is an emergency. And I would like to hear council say, declare an emergency for the black community in Akron, and take the steps necessary to elevate it, as it says, to elevate. I mean, that's quite easy to say, elevate, to let us rise with the all-American city, which it hasn't been done. And then I heard about this big job coming up. And under the Elevate Akron, it says the minority community, African American community, has been denied even opportunity for uplifting even in the workforce. We're ranked almost the lowest across the state of, across America, not the state of Ohio, America. Akron, Ohio, all-American city. How can that be? I mean, our council is diverse, so why can't we uplift everyone, the entire city? And, you know, that's been my cry, but I would like to hear her come down here and say, we're going to declare this an emergency, and this is what we're going to do to make this happen. I mean, we need action. We need everyone in here action to put your minds together and make a roadmap that can help us. It's not that difficult. It's, all it takes is the will to do it, just the will. So that is my question, and I would like the council to get some results. And when the bulldozers come, it's not just on Romick Road, but it's on Thornton Street, it's on Burnham Odom Drive, it's on Rhodes Avenue, and we can carry some of the buckets and shovels and run the equipment. So shouldn't be that difficult. All-American city, all Americans, even African Americans as well, you know, every American, and our community city is very diverse. So before my 3 minutes and I get the gavel, I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hargrove. Anyone else wishing to speak during our public comment period? Seeing and hearing none, we'll close our public comment period and move into our committee assignments. Rules, Councilman Keith. Budget and Finance, Councilman Freeman.
3 p.m. is a reminder that budget hearings begin tomorrow.
Planning, Councilman Fusco. Public Service, Councilman Keith. Public Utilities, Councilman Kilby. Public Safety, Councilman Kamer. Parks and Rec, Councilman Freeman.
2:30.
Housing, Councilman Kilby. Health and Social Services, Councilman Amobian.
Stay corrected, 2:15.
2:15, okay. Economic Development, Councilman Sims. Green Committee, Councilman Swirsky. Is there anything else coming before this body? We have a motion to excuse Tara Samples and Councilman Neal. There's a motion to adjourn. Seeing no objections, we're adjourned.
This concludes the live broadcast of Akron City Council. Margot Somerville, President of Council, preside.